All right, good people. How's everybody doing? Good.
How does it feel to be a Big Ten champ?
Better than not, for sure. So, I'm really proud of just how they grew, how they really took control of the situation. That was absolutely player-led, and that'll be a reference point for not only the rest of the NCAA tournament, but for the rest of their lives. And for me to see that transpire and to see them grab a hold of what they wanted, that was really cool to see.
This seems like the kind of place that only really hangs the big banners.
Yeah.
Where does the Big Ten trophy go?
Well, I think the Big Ten trophy, I don't know yet, to be honest with you. I haven't gotten that far, but, this is a place that only hangs national championship banners in Pauley Pavilion. Hold on one second. Hey, so, go down that way. This is a place that only hangs national championship banners, but it's also a place, and our program is about acknowledging growth and really staying committed to the process, and that was a pretty great step in our process, and so we will honor it. It isn't our end goal, but it is a really important part of our process.
Where's the trophy now?
It's in the offices at the moment, so it is really heavy, and it comes in a humongous case. So it's in the office right now. Yeah, I went to pick it up, and I was like, never mind, I'll lean. So. Yeah.
The shift to being a player-led team, like we saw it before the game, during the game, and now after the game, how are you kind of seeing that perpetuate?
Well, Coach Tasha did a great job today in leading us in an activity about success leaves clues. So what are the clues that we need to really hold on to from what happened? And she broke them into groups and had them just write them all down. And what were specific examples of how we made player-led choices, whether in how we watched film and how we did walkthroughs, in timeouts, at halftime, certain moments during the game, really trying to etch those into our subconscious and conscious about what led to what we wanted and how do we really scale that and continue that. And so I think if you don't really mark it down and have those reference points, it's hard to make sure that you repeat them.
Was there an evolution in that in-game during the championship games? It seemed
yes.
Like a big shift from first to second half.
Absolutely. I mean, it really was. I mean, if you had told me and showed me a stat sheet of what the game was going to be like, I would have said, man, we lost. I mean, but it's so many of the things you can't measure. And so there's a lot of growing still needs to have happen. I was really disappointed in the hustle plays in the first half, the rebounds in the first half, our lack of aggression getting to our double teams. But I was really pleased that at halftime, I was angry going into that locker room, and I was really pleased to see in their eyes that the determination and the willingness to really make a turn. And so it really did. It evolved through each time out. I could see them in their huddles. I could hear what they're talking about. And we played a lot of people in positions we'd never played them in before. But I think they were just so dialed in that it was just a whatever it takes mentality.
Try not to put too much stock into any one game.
No.
But does it feel like you guys kind of needed that one?
Yeah, I do. I think it's not the end-all be-all, but it really felt like a significant growth step, a hurdle we needed to get over. I think for our own confidence, our own toughness going into the NCAA tournament, I thought it would be a lot harder to get us to a place of, you never outperform your self-image. So if they don't see themselves as a championship team, of one that can compete for a Final Four and a national championship, if they don't see themselves that way, it's really hard to coach them into those places. But when you have a thing that you go grab and you conquer and you do things that were really, really difficult and you find a way, well, it puts us in a different position psychologically, I think, going into the NCAA tournament.
Do you like having this amount of time off between?
Well, I can tell you that our men's staff would rather have that time off. I think it's got pluses and minuses, right? I think there's some rhythm things that you were like, but dang, we're losing some momentum here. But we get a chance to heal up, being a quarter school and going through final exams right now. There's some things that really are an advantage. I think that, to be honest with you, if I had to choose one way or the other, I would choose this, especially if you're an upper seed. I think it's something you can play yourself back into that rhythm, but getting everybody healthy and getting academics handled at a really high level and being able to be freed up mentally to go into that as well as be at our best in terms of recovery. I mean, our men could be in the championship game in the Big Ten tournament, and then 36 hours later be on a plane to go to their first and second round, sites. That's tough. So I choose ours.
Speaking to earning that confidence, I know you guys have done like visualizations every day. How important are those just 3 minutes of I'm going to watch myself do something good?
Yeah, I think that especially for our team, you wouldn't believe that we're not as confident as our talent says we should be, and I think just reminding yourself what you've already earned. I think it's really important. I've encouraged them to do it every morning when they wake up and every night before they go to bed, in addition to whatever they do here, is that I just remind themselves of all that they've earned, all that they've confidence, what do their best reps look like. And, there's so much science about, creating those mental loops of positivity, but of real things, and I think it's really important that you set your mind on the right things, and you got to do it every day. It's not, mind hope or mind maybe, it's mindset. Like, you have to set your mind on the right things. And there's a lot of competing things in the wrong things. So I really think it's a mental discipline to be able to reset your mind every single day.
What kind of the inspiration for doing that intentional 2-minute video? Like, I know you've been doing it
for a long time. Honestly, Joshua Medcalf, who was our director of mental training for about 7 years, and he's written Chop Wood, Carry Water, Pound the Stone, a whole bunch of other ones. He started us on it, and he also talked about how especially females, when they leave practice, that they actually are, most of them, creating a detrimental negative loop. Oh, why was coach on me today? Oh my, why was I turning the ball over? I can't make a shot. Maybe I don't belong. He would just said it's very, if you don't interrupt that, most players will go to that place. And so then we started brainstorming about what would it look like to provide a healthier alternative to how they think, especially post practice. And then just starting themselves off that way. And I don't know anyone who doesn't, I haven't had any player say, if you just tell me one more good thing about myself, I'm just going to burst, They don't, right? So I think it's important. They get corrected a lot, but I think it's really important for them to be reminded of what they've earned.
What is Kiki's role in this whole player-led confidence mindset evolution? She seemed different going into the tournament.
Yeah,
so.
It was led by Gabs and Kiki. I got a text on the Sunday after the loss against USC, and just taking complete responsibility. She's like, we were prepared, we knew what to do, we didn't do it, it will never happen again. This is what we want to do. We want to have a player-only meeting. I don't want any coaches there except one of the video team members, and we're gonna call each other up and out. And that's exactly what they did. And pretty much from that moment on, her leadership never waned, never wavered. And I told her, I told her and Gabs, I thought it was maybe the most pivotal point of growth that I've seen in them. They've always been hard workers. They've always been people that take care of their own business. But that was the turn that they were going to take responsibility for the entire team. And that's not an easy, cross to bear, so to speak. And they really have stepped into it. And I think they got rewarded. And so it's a lot easier to teach them into that place now moving forward.
How does Kiki's success and leadership kind of bring people along with her? Like you mentioned Gabs too, who really had to work to get into the starting lineup, and now she's in a leadership position right up there with Kiki.
Well, Shannon LaBeouf on our staff deserves so much credit for that. She runs our LIT program, our Leaders in Training. Tony and I joke all the time that we need to go to LIT class, she just does such an elite job. And one of the things that she really starts with is that you all have a leadership influence in you. You just got to find what yours is. And so she's really good about not making it cookie cutter. Like, you don't have to be fiery like Tasha and I. You don't have to be a certain way. That leadership is just influence. And it's making sure you're going on a journey, but you're not going alone. You're taking people with you. And she really helps them find how are you most effective at that? What does your leadership influence look like? And it's been really fun to watch both of those who are really performance and example leaders learn how to find their voice and what their voice needs to actually be like, and how to be most influential in our team. And so Shannon has just done a marvelous job of mentoring our leaders to find how are they best in their leadership role.
Are they roommates by any chance?
Gabs and Kiki, yeah,
Okay,
they are.
yeah.
Which that even adds to it. So
Yeah.
yes, so they're leaders on that. So
You mentioned after the game, like winning for the people who paved the way for you.
Yeah.
Guys. Like, what's been kind of the alumni reaction
Oh.
to in the last like weekend?
one of my favorite things is, and honestly, and this is going to sound weird, but honestly, I've enjoyed seeing that at both USC and UCLA. The alumni for both programs have been coming out of the woodwork, and you want that. I mean, that is awesome, and because it just grows our game in our city more and more and more, which is just really, really cool. So, are you taking care of that clock for me, Cori? Thank you. But honestly, I think that might have been some of my favorite texts that I got were from alums, and from just so proud of the championship, but just the journey, and they've just been so good to us. And I read a text that Nikki Blue wrote Pam Walker. She was on the team that won the last one, and they were down 11 with 3 minutes to go against Stanford, and she remembers it like it's yesterday, and she was wishing that for us in that game, and to be able to know that we could make them proud. That's just like the best, and I do think that I want them to feel like they're connected to it, that they're a part of it. This is not something that just this 2024-25 team did. This is something that all of the teams leading up to this helped us do.
No, Lauren today? She all right?
No, she's totally fine. Okay. She's just under the weather. So she came this morning to do weights, and then we sent her home. So nothing major.
A little bug.
Yeah, just it's going around the entire team. So don't be around us too long. So about half of them are just still recovering from that. I actually didn't get it. I'm one of the healthy ones. So I'm one of the healthy ones. But literally, and which makes it even that much more amazing what they did. Gabs was sick as a dog the entire conference tournament. I mean, really sick. And several, I would say half of them were pretty darn sick. And so it just tells you even a little bit more how much it meant to them. So, all right. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it.